Ag Bioscience, the #1 ag tech podcast globally, is now available on video. Hear from leaders and innovators across food, animal health, plant science, ag tech, and agriculture. Mondays at 6 a.m. on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. While you're there, subscribe and leave us a review. It's the Ag Bioscience Podcast with Agronovis Indiana. Get more information at agronovisindiana.com.
The internet changed how we work. AI is changing what work gets done. A bank cut loan processing from days to hours. A student built an AI scheduler, improving on-time delivery from under 70% to over 90%. Most teams know AI matters, but aren't sure where to start. InAI is Indiana's statewide AI adoption effort, built with industry, academia, and community partners, helping you move from understanding to action. Visit inaiready.com.
Hi, I'm Jayson Manship, host of Authentic and Agentic, presented by TechPoint. Every week on this show, we break down what's happening in AI and what it means for how we work, lead, and live. Join me for a human-focused conversation that keeps you ahead of the curve. This is the Authentic and Agentic podcast on the IBJ Media Podcast Network. Hey friends, Jayson Manship here from the Authentic and Agentic podcast. Today, doing something a little different. So I would like for you all, if you're listening to the audio, to go to the YouTube channel and watch this episode. So this episode is a hands-on episode where I'm building something using Claude Co-work in particular. And you're going to get a lot more out of it if you go to the video version of this, so you can actually watch it. You can have it on in the background. It's cool. It takes a good while, but it's a soup to nuts solution. So my wife came to me and has a problem in our business here at Moonshot and says, hey, can you build something to do this? And so I did. I built it start to finish in this video. So go over there and check it out. I do want to kick to our sponsors, the people that are helping make this happen. And so thank you to TechPoint for being our presenting sponsor. And thank you for Indiana Wesleyan for continuing to support the show. We're going to play sponsor segment, and then we're going to go on to the rest of the show. But again, I highly recommend click over to YouTube, watch it there. YouTube channel, let me just give you that. YouTube.com. And I wish it were shorter, but it can't be, because I boondoggled something a long time ago. So it is youtube.com/@ Jayson Manship -GenMoonX. Okay. So this is the URL. It's got a ton of great video content in there about my conversations with lots of different folks. But go to that URL, thousands and thousands of views. It's kind of cool just seeing all the conversations that we've had historically. But go to that URL, check it out. And it will be a live hands-on visual of what we're building. Okay, you can just go to YouTube and search Jayson Manship if you can't remember the URL, but it's on YouTube. Go check it out. Watch it there. If you want to listen, feel free. But I think, again, you're going to get more out of the video version. So thank you all. AI is changing how work gets done, and organizations across Indiana are figuring out what comes next. TechPoint's Community Connect brings together employers, higher education leaders, and emerging talent to explore how AI is reshaping the workforce and creating new opportunities for innovation. Join us July 24th for conversations, working sessions, and networking focused on the future of work. Register at techpoint.org/communityconnect. AI is transforming every industry, and Indiana Wesleyan University is preparing professionals to lead that change. IWU offers a Master of Science in AI and Data Analytics, a graduate certificate in AI Business Innovation, and an Applied AI Analytics concentration, all designed for working adults. Flexible, online, Christ-centered, and grounded in biblical ethics. Discover how IWU can help you find the way forward. Visit indwes.edu. Hey friends, Jayson here. I am doing something a little different today. I wanted to walk you through an actual build in AI. I get a lot of questions around how do I actually do this stuff? And so I thought today I would open up Claude Co-work and show you how I will build it. It may not actually live in Co-work when we're fully done with it. I may move it over to another app that shares logins and other things, but I just wanted to show you what Co-work does today. And so if you're unfamiliar, Co-work has 3 features by default. One is chat, which is like a ChatGPT feature. One is Co-work, which is going to be kind of an agentic. It's going to help you work inside of a folder and build on your desktop. And then the third is code, where it's actually going to go build code for you. I use this one to manage our website, for example, where I just tell it, hey, go change this on my website, and it does it. And so today, I had a request from my beautiful wife to help alleviate a problem that is piling up, and I am going to use Claude to try to solve it. And so, first of all, I want to say this is exciting for me because my wife is self-proclaimed Luddite, does not like any of this AI stuff, doesn't trust it, doesn't believe in it, doesn't necessarily think it solved problems yet. And so what I have witnessed over the last few months as I've been building is that she is slowly but surely coming around to this concept. So she texted me the other day and said, hey, I have an issue. Can you use AI to help me solve it? Her request is to create a reordering system for our game store. So we own Moonshot Games. We have 23, 24 employees across 2 locations. And we run out of supplies. And so we need a way to reorder those supplies. And I thought it'd be kind of a fun exercise here. So we're going to try to build this with Claude. So hang tight. I use a product called Whisper. It lives in my desktop right here, Whisper Flow. And so I use that to talk to my computer. It's just a more efficient way than typing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of scope out the initial sides of this project, and we'll go from there. I'm going to create a new project folder. I'm going to start from scratch. This is going to be called Moonshot Supplies. A web application to restock supplies for both of our store locations. So it creates a folder for me, puts all that stuff in there, gives it a basic instruction set. What Claude is kind of cool is that it starts to build some of the features and components that you might expect. So if we tell it to put stuff in memory, it's going to show us that. It's going to have folders living on my desktop, actually. It's going to create its own checklist of to-dos. You'll see all of this as we get going. So you'll also notice that I am currently using Fable 5, which is their brand new model that is allowed. This was the one that went back and forth with the U.S. federal government, and they banned it for a while. I don't know what happened behind the scenes, but it's now officially available in the app. And so it's telling me that Fable 5 is the best version of this. I am on the $200 a month plan. I don't know if it's available for everybody. We just reported last week that Sonnet 5 is the one that's like the core default one for the lower tier plans, including the free plan. But for our purposes, we're going to use Fable 5. This is my first time using it, so we're going to test it in real time, right? Bill O'Reilly, let's do it live. So here we go. I need to build a supplies kind of reordering system for Moonshot Games. And so we have 2 locations, 20-plus employees. We manage front of house and fulfillment. And I need a way for my staff to be able to say, hey, we're out of this thing. And we can organize it. We can build a system that helps us track it. I'm looking for manager approvals here, so we're going to have it such that if a random staff person decides they want to get a thing, they can add it to a list, but a manager would approve that. Some of the things that we buy are kind of known entities, things that we buy over and over and over again, and we run out, we just need to reorder it. Some things that we get might be new. So we probably need a feature that would allow us to both choose from a list and add recommended items. Maybe that's a one-time order. Maybe that's something that goes on the list for the future. But my goal here is to just reduce friction. Right now, when people are out of something, they just post it in a Slack channel, and it just noise. It just kind of fills up. And it's a bit overwhelming. So when we go to repurchase, it's kind of a mess. Most of our supplies we get from 3 sources: Amazon, Uline, uline.com, and Instacart. Instacart for Costco, Meijer, those sorts of places where we'll have stuff delivered. So ideally, this app would consolidate all of the requests for maybe a week. I think a week is a reasonable timeline. I don't know that needs to be set in stone, but maybe let's start there. Let's consolidate all the requests for a week and make it so a manager, in this case my wife, Amanda, can look at that full list and it automatically kind of prepares and organizes everything for orders from those sources. If there's an opportunity to automate that so that the app can actually place the orders, that would be insane. But if for now, if it just like preps everything and makes it as easy and frictionless as possible to refill this stuff, that would be where I'd want to go with this. And so let's start by you consuming all of that context. Ask me a series of questions. I want to make sure I answer everything to the best of my ability so that we can scope this correctly and build this correctly. This needs to be a web app. So I currently have an account with Netlify. I think we'll probably host it there. So I'll need you to connect with Netlify. We also do everything through Google currently. So we have a Google Drive environment for our company. And we use Slack. And so if there's integrations in those places, that could be a pretty cool way to make this project even better. So I am letting Whisper take all that text, dump it in here, and all I'm going to do is send it. Okay. So no editing, no changing. I didn't even read it. I just literally word vomited into my microphone. And Claude Co-work, remember we're using the Co-work feature. Fable 5 is the model that's running. I don't know how important that is yet, but that's what we're going to run with. And yeah, it is crunching. First round of questions. Great. So we're going to let it come back to us with questions. What I like about this is it kind of gives you a click list. It's going to tell me I got 4 questions coming up. How should they sign in? Google sign-in would be ideal because we have that. Who can approve requests? Probably Amanda and a per location manager. You know what, for now, for simplicity, just to get this across the table, I'll make it Amanda only. Here's what I love about building apps like this is that you can change the stuff as you go. How deep should Slack go? I think probably notifications only. Do you have an existing list? No, we're going to have to probably start empty. I don't have a list of the things we typically reorder. I mean, I probably could get one, but it might be easier to just build an app that lets me create that. So we're going to let this run. You're going to see it thinking down here. It can take minutes, right? This is quite a bit of work. So it's building out the scope of this. In the background, what's happening is this application is actually, Claude is actually using these AI tools, Fable 5 in this instance, and it's starting to build what's happening. So handled separate batches per location. Yep. Where should the app's data live? Recommending Supabase. Truth be told, you don't need to know what this even is. It's just a database that holds stuff. The front end is on Netlify. That's just something I clarified on the front end. So when I was building this, one of the things you have to do with Claude is it has to host it somewhere. If I want a website that people can actually access, they have to be able to get to it, right? They have to be able to go to a URL to get to it. Claude doesn't offer that in default hosting, so it partners with another group. There's other ways to do it, but I use Netlify, which is basically just a hosting platform. So Claude will design the code, build the code, and then push all the code up to Netlify. It lives on Netlify, so I interact with it there. But what it's now asking is, what about the data? Where's the data going to live? And so I'm going to choose Supabase because that's what it recommends. Again, you don't even need to know how this works. You just need to know that follow Claude's prompts, answer its questions. If you're not sure, ask. Right? One of the things I would highly recommend is do what you're comfortable with. I mean, if you're a Google Sheets person and you're more comfortable seeing the data in Google Sheets, that's fine for a project of this scope. But it's going to give you recommendations based on scale and size and all the things it wants to do. So we're going to choose Supabase. For V1, what should preparing the order look like? A vendor group checklist and links, a checklist plus cart deep links, or aim for full automation? Let's do checklist plus cart deep links, maybe. Well, it's giving me a recommended one here. So for the purposes of this, let's stay in the recommended bucket, though I think we could probably get to at least cart deep links and or full automation. So what does that mean? This is going to give me a list of stuff I need to order with the links to go buy it. Okay, this is going to give me a checklist of things that's going to take me straight to the product to fill in the carts, to simplify it. And this is going to get to a place where it will actually, hopefully, place the orders for us. This is the be-all, end-all goal, right? But we're going to, again, for the purposes of this podcast, to kind of keep it short and simple, we're going to go with the recommended path here. We'll get to something faster. Should urgent request? Yeah, we should have an urgent request flag where somebody can book something sooner. Obviously, there's going to be nuances to that. If you buy a lot of little things in small batches and it's not Amazon Prime, you're going to pay shipping or delivery fees for every little thing you get. This is not optimized. I have not asked it to optimize for cost and breakdowns and all that. I'm just trying to simplify the human labor side of it. Yes, we're going to deploy through GitHub. So for context, for those of you that don't know, GitHub is a place you store your code. This is something I have. If you don't have that, you can do a direct deploy here, and you don't need this. But GitHub basically tracks your code changes across different platforms. So if we decide to take this out of Netlify someday, we have a repo that lives externally. A repo is just a repository of code. And so GitHub is like the de facto standard for developers where they store their code. And so GitHub repo, where should it post? Let's create a new channel. See, as it's going through this, it's actually starting to scope this out and build it, and it comes across additional questions that it has. It's like, wait a minute, I don't know how to handle this part. And so it starts to build those things, which is super cool. All right, so here's the scope. Users are going to sign in with Google. Amanda's the sole approver. Staff picks a catalog item or adds a new one. Name, link, vendor notes, quantity, tag to location. Urgent flag pings it immediately. Catalog starts empty, so we're going to have to approve things and add them to the catalog. She reviews week's requests, deadlines, quantities. Approved items are grouped by vendor, so Amazon, Uline, Instacart. Slack has a dedicated channel, and then Slack, or the stack is we're going to be on Netlify, which I prescribed on the front end. The code's going to live in GitHub, so we can go get it if we need to, and it's going to use Supabase for its database. Okay, so this is where you get into stuff where it just guides you, right? You just have to be confident and capable to just follow directions. So one thing I need from you is a Supabase account. Free tier is fine. Sign in with Google. So we're going to go in a new window, copy, window, continue with GitHub. GitHub, we're going to log in with Google. Google, we're going to log in with my Google account. It's going to send me an email, I believe. Nope, it sends me let's go SMS. My browser automatically grabs it. Supabase by Supabase wants to access. Let's authorize. You're now being redirected. So I know I'm clicking through this quickly. This is not something you have to do if you don't choose the GitHub setup, right? But what we're doing is we're just authenticating through GitHub, setting up Supabase, creating a Supabase account, which I may already have. I do not. Moonshot. It is probably a startup, free. Let's start at the free plan, see what it says. Create the organization. It's building an org that's then going to create databases inside of that org. So I have not, with this Google account, used Supabase before. We're going to call this one Moonshot Supplies, a database password. So we're just going to open ChatGPT. Can you give me a 32-bit password? Here's what I'm going to do, guys. I'm going to move this off of the screen because y'all don't need to see my password. That doesn't seem like a good idea. So there we go. We got a password we created on the second screen here. We're in Americas. We're good. We're creating the project. So this password I'm going to save locally also on the second screen just so y'all aren't cheating on me here. Okay, so we have now created this Supabase account. We're going to come back to here. We're going to say Supabase account created. What do you need from me? Oh, keep a base created. That's not helpful. Let's see if it figures that out. Yeah, so I tend to use any tool that I can, right? Whatever's fastest. And so I have OnePass. If I want to create an account and save it and store it, I'll use that to keep and track my passwords over time. If I just need to create a random 32-character password, I'll just throw that in ChatGPT or something else and do it. The key is just don't paste it as plain text. Don't paste it directly in. All your tools will yell at you. Okay, 3 things, all from your dashboard, API keys. Okay, so we need to do these things. So here's the cool part. You ready for this? We're going to have it drive. Watch. It says I drive Chrome. So what it's going to do is it's going to actually open up Google Chrome. So it has opened up this window. It's clicking through. I'm not doing anything. With this little orange screen you see over here, that is Claude taking over. So we're just going to watch it. You'll see the mouse move. You'll see it try to do different things. It will eventually prompt me when it doesn't know how to log in. It'll try to click some stuff. It'll say, hey, that worked and that didn't work. And that's what that looks like. And so let's do this. Let's shrink our browser down just a little bit here so we can kind of toggle back and forth between these two. You're not logged in. So I just opened. I'm not allowed to handle login credentials. Tell me when you're there and I'll take it from there. So I'm going to go back into here, right inside of this browser. I'm going to log in just like I did on the other one. It's going to send me a text message because two-factor authentication. What's kind of cool about this, though, is that because it takes over your browser, it doesn't get past two-factor authentication, but it can be useful because it will ask you to log in. And so I'm personally getting past the two-factor myself. Same thing as before. SMS. Send me an SMS. Let's grab the code and verify. Okay. Error getting your user profile. Try refreshing your browser. Refresh. Continue with GitHub. This seemed to have worked, right? All right, so we're in. Oh, there's a technical issue happening. That's fun. Okay, but I'm going to come back here and I'm going to say I'm in, and that's it. And then it's going to take back over. And we'll hopefully see it start to, see there, it's got the orange around the screen again, which means Claude's in control of my browser. And it's running, it's doing all these clicks and setting all this stuff up and doing all the bells and whistles here. It can give you a step-by-step, but I find, which is faster sometimes, right? If it just tells me what to do, because I can click faster. I don't have to like figure it all out on the fly. But sometimes it's nice to just let it run because it knows exactly what buttons to click and how to do it. And so in this use case, especially as a kind of training document here to show you guys how this stuff works, I'm just going to let it do its thing. So we'll let it run. You can see I've got Claude in the left right above my head. I've got Claude running in the background, and then this is doing this. And so I like to have kind of the windows set up as such so I can follow along both, so I can make sure that if it's stuck, I'm not just standing here at a screen watching it. What's really cool about this is you can actually go into other screens. So I have other monitors here. I can actually be working on my other monitors and let this thing just crunch. This is where Agentic really takes off because it's working while I'm working. For the purposes of this, I'm keeping it simple and not doing that, but very easy solve, very easy thing to do. And so it's coming in here, it's creating our API keys, it's grabbing all the bits and pieces. I will rotate these keys once this video posts because it is exposing the keys right here. You can see it clicking the little visual eye button. And so that's what the key it's going to use to build this to connect to this Supabase. This is our database. So it's going to grab that and put it into Claude's project. And so I will, once I get this video done, produced before I post it to YouTube, I will swap that out so y'all can't just take it and use it. It's asking me to log back in again. So I will do that. Ooh, it's setting up a Google Auth program. That's fun. So this is Google Console. This is a place in which it's going to set up the authentication to log in with Google. Remember, I gave it the prompts to do that. Yep. So this is done. Go on, keep going. So it's logged into Google Console. It's going to go try to create an application. So basically the way this works is Google Cloud is a technical infrastructure that has all of Google's dev tools built into it. So API access to YouTube, which is what you see up here, this Moonshot Rips project that it's actively in right now. It's going to go create a new project, and it's going to use this for OAuth, which is authentication. This is pretty technical. If you're a developer, this is second nature. If you're not, this is probably overwhelming. But importantly, just watch. just watch how Claude goes and starts to build this. So it's creating its own new project called Moonshot Supplies. It's building it out. It's going to click through and attempt to enable all the appropriate services. So it's going to try to make sure to set up the authentication service. What this is doing is basically just adding a Google login to our application. I had told it I wanted it to have a Google login. And so to do that, it has to have permission to do that. It needs to connect to the back end of Google's technical infrastructure. So it's going to do that now. You'll see some of my other tools here. These are other apps or projects that I've built that are connected. And so I've got all sorts of things, but it's going to log itself into Moonshot Supplies. It's created its own project. It's going to run. If it gets stuck, it'll grab me. This is probably the most complicated part of building out applications with tools like Claude or Replit, is if you integrate them with anything else, in this case, a Google login, you have to actually connect to Google login. So we did the Supabase step, which was to connect it to a database so it can actually store its database information locally. Now we're connecting it to Google to be able to authenticate users. What you're going to see here, though, is, again, Claude is driving all of this. I'm doing nothing. You saw me log in, so it prompted and said, hey, Jayson, will you please log in? Sure, will do. I did that. I did my two-factor authentication. It's currently filling out these forms. It created the project. It's building the app. It's deciding the audience. It's clicking through each step. It's really wild. So it'll take a few. I mean, again, you could do this faster if you were a developer and you've done it a bunch. I can click through these steps probably 3 to 5 times faster than Claude can. But I can have this run in another window and keep working on what I'm currently working on. Oh, knocked over Ted Lasso. His little biscuits. Look at this little guy. Look at him. He's got this little... Okay, if you guys don't watch Ted Lasso, I don't know what you're doing. It's the greatest show ever made. True story. True story. Love that show. Can't wait. We're like a month out, I guess, from another season, which I didn't think was going to happen, so it's pretty sweet. All right, it's clicking through all the things. It's kind of wild that it's going to click a box that says, I agree to services. Oh, maybe it won't. One checkbox left. Google requires agreeing to services. I need your okay. That's pretty funny. Okay. Create. So it won't agree to services on your behalf. That's funny. It does have, and that's one of the things I tell people a lot about Claude in particular, is that it's very, humanistic's not the right term, but it's very focused on permissions and not doing stuff it's not supposed to do. We've all heard horror stories already of AI, and in some cases even Claude, like running rampant and doing whatever it wants to do. What I have seen over and over again is that when it's building stuff, it gets to a place like that, it's going to say, hold on, I don't think we should probably do it. Let's ask. And so sometimes that can be frustrating if you, especially in the Claude Code side, if you use that, you ask it to do a thing, it'll ask you 15 or 20 prompts while it's going, which sometimes feels redundant, but it's just making sure it's not editing your code without your permission. It's making sure it's not connecting a service without your permission. There's a lot of different things it's trying to do. And so in this case, I mean, we are creating a login authentication to Google, and it wants to make sure that we're cool with the terms and conditions of that. So easy enough. This will be interesting. It's at the auto. Already pulled in the Supabase callback. That's fun. So it's building the redirect URL directly into this. I'll probably have to swap that out after the video as well. OAuth. It's going to grab client IDs and JSON files. This is other stuff that I'll have to swap out so y'all don't abuse my little system I'm building here. But I do want to show you just how the process works. Again, I haven't done anything other than when it asks me. So I had to check that checkbox. I had to log in. And outside of that, it's doing all the rest. So it has built an OAuth client ID right here as a web application. That little orange screen around my Chrome browser is telling you that it is still in control. I don't know what it's doing exactly, but I know it's hooking up Google authentication to the application that we have designed thus far. So it's going to grab our redirect URLs. It's going to save all these facts and figures, and then hopefully it'll come back to Claude and say, hey, we got OAuth set up. We got Supabase set up. Now let's actually scaffold this application. So it's going to grab all these here things. And if you want, you can actually see that it's taking pictures and analyzing screenshots and then analyzing what it's doing as it's doing that for you. So it's literally watching as it's happening. So it's creating a new secret, probably because it didn't copy the first one. So one of the little, I don't think it's a bug, I think it's a feature, is that it doesn't auto copy the original client secret in Google in OAuth. So in this case, it's created a new one with the copy button. So I'm guessing that's what it's doing here, is it's just doing its own thing. So now we're back to Supabase, the website here. It's confirming all of our logins. Now wiring them into Supabase's Google provider. Let it do all of its little gizmos here. It's going to have to copy the client ID and the secrets over to this. And again, if you've done this a dozen times, you can go quicker, right? You can literally go faster through these processes. But what a cool feature. If you're a multitasker, so if you are a developer, learning how to let this run in one screen while you go do stuff in other screens is the absolute game changer. If you're not a developer, then figuring out how to let it do this for you. You don't have to know how to do this stuff. You just tell it. So you can see right there that it's got Google now enabled and ready to go inside of Supabase. And so let's come back to this and see what it's got for us. Still thinking, figuring out what's next. All right, next up. What is Amanda's email? It's this one. What should two locations be called in the app? Noblesville and Plainfield. Those are our two stores. All right. Good questions. It's going to need to know that to be able to connect all these dots, right? So here's the interesting part. If you look now, we've got the progress bar. I guess this has probably been up the whole time. We just haven't shown it. So creating the Supabase project, setting up Google OAuth, creating the database, scaffolding the app, connecting it, Slack channel, end to end. So this is where it does its own actual testing. And so we're now on to step 3, which is the database schema. So it's opening up the SQL editor back here, and it's going to actually create the database. That's kind of cool. So if any of you went to school to study MySQL or databases, core of what I learned 25 years ago still is in existence today. It's still very much an SQL heavy database structure with relative keys and relational tables and those sorts of things. And so it's going to build all of these tables. You're seeing right here, create the table. Here's the IDs. Here's the keys. Here's how stuff works. And it's just going to go build it. And so it runs into its own errors sometimes. It's like, hey, your code's wrong. Go fix your own code, which is sweet. You just let it go. Again, you don't have to know how to do this stuff. You don't need to know how it works in particular. It's just fascinating to watch, especially if you're a developer or coder or someone who's been around this for a while, because you can find some nuance in how they do things and how it works. It's also cool to understand the infrastructure. What I like about building with AI like this is that you have the source code, you have the database, you have the tables. And so, this version that we're building with Claude is a V1, right? It's like an MVP. It's like for a small 20-person company with nothing. It's not tied to our financials. There's no HIPAA data. There's nothing like that. This is just a cool little web app, cool little feature that will make our lives easier. And when it's active and live, it literally will cut hours out of the week for people, and it will standardize, and it will help us keep stuff in stock, and it will just work, right? So in those use cases, like, what a cool feature to just let Claude go build it. Now imagine we have to take that feature enterprise. We have to roll this out for 50 departments across a company of 10,000 employees, and we have budgets attached and all sorts of other things attached to it. What is cool about AI is that you could hand that to a development team, and they have a scaffolding to start with. They're not starting at zero. There we go. So it solved its own problems, found its own bug in its own syntax, and it was able to create the tables correctly and generate the entries inside of the SQL. So in this case, what's kind of cool also about AI coding like this with Claude is that in some instances, it's going to click through stuff, and in some instances, it's going to use technical, right? So you could create a database inside of a tool like this by hitting a plus symbol and manually adding a field name and manually adding a table name and like going through a UI, UX feature. But in this case, Claude's like, nope, we're just going to take the code because we can write the code behind the scenes and we're just going to paste it in. And that will do 15 steps at once. Boom, 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 boom. And so that's a faster, more efficient way to do it. So you can see here it's on line 65 already, right? It's just going. Created, creating, writing files, building code. So it's got the database done. Now it's building the app. Okay, and here's some of the files it's building. A couple things to note here. AI tools like Replit and Claude and others use MD files. These are basically like memory files. This is going to be your instruction set that tells the application how to think and function, so that when Claude is writing features, it's going to take what I told it and it's going to build constructs around that, where it's going to say, hey, we're not going to go outside of this box. We're going to keep it simple. We're going to put it, we're going to follow the instructions you gave us. And so that's what this does. And you can actually go in and read that. You can change it, edit it, whatever. So as you interact with an app over time, and when I tell folks like build V1 and then layer on extra versions, instead of trying to create this mega perfect scenario, you noticed how we did not try to build automation and automatic ordering and budgets and all sorts of other complexity into this application. We did it pretty simple, right? We did a very basic version, which was let's just get orders in, let's just get a catalog built, and let's make it simple. And then my wife can approve it weekly. And then if we like this tool and the sheer short 1 hour of effort we've put into it, if we feel like it's actually in the right direction, then let's lean in and make it better. And that's where you update your instructions. I don't ever actually log into instructions and change anything. I just open this Claude back up and I say, hey, okay, phase 2, we're ready to do this, this, and this. And it will update its own instructions. That's really an instruction set for itself to read, so it knows what project it's working on, what that project's supposed to do, how it all interconnects, and what that needs to look like. But you can see all these files it's building. Again, you don't need to know what TOML files are, or HTML files are, or any of the JavaScript stuff. You don't need to know any of this stuff. You just need to know that A, it's doing what it's told to do, that there are actual files behind the scenes that live currently on my computer, going to be connected to Netlify and pushed out to the web. And importantly, it's all getting saved, in my case, to GitHub, so that the code is deployed there. I could, with the couple clicks of a button, invite a developer into it who could then clone that and build from it, or clone it and take it to their own AI tool and build from it. So it's really wild how fast this world is moving, how we're building entire applications like this. Technically, we're following the same footprint and footsteps that a development team would do, right? If I hired a developer and had them code something for me, this is, in essence, the process they would go through. Many developers are specialists, so they know certain code or certain languages. They may be PHP developers, or they may be React Native developers, or Node.js, or whatever they're building in. And if that's what they know, then that's the app you're going to get. With Claude, with Replit, with others, you have an opportunity to really use all sorts of different technologies. So if I would have told it on the front end, I need you to do it in this language in this way, we could have. My nature is tech agnostic as long as I have access to the source code. I try not to over-engineer. I try to just solve the problem, because for me, AI building isn't about creating the mega solution. It's about chipping away. It's about one step in front of the other. And so right now, what it's trying to do is connect to GitHub. I have to allow it. Like I told you, Claude has a tendency to ask over and over again, are you okay with this? And so, yeah, go for it. So it wants to use the repository. Yep, I'll allow it. So when it interacts with other tools, in this case, it's going to GitHub and saying, hey, I want to build a repository in GitHub. I want to push this code to it. So first I need your user profile. Now I need your permission to do something in GitHub as you. Okay. So here's what you drive. So it's saying, hey, the API doesn't allow me to do this. There's two ways forward. I can create the repo for you, or you can go do it. I'm going to tell it to drive. It's going to come back to GitHub. It's going to come back to Chrome over here. It's likely going to make me log into GitHub again, just to confirm that I am who I say I am. And then it will control my screen and basically give itself permission. Is kind of what's happening here. It's going to log itself into GitHub or get us into GitHub, and then it's going to say, are we cool to connect all these dots? What does this look like? I'm already logged in, so that's great. Clicking through itself. I'm doing it this way on purpose, again, to show you that you don't have to be a coding expert. You literally just have to let it drive and then answer questions. So you have seen, start to finish, what I told it. It has asked me a few questions. I chose a slightly harder path with adding GitHub to it, but that's really just to create some redundancy in the code and decide. My big issue is I'm not sure we're going to leave this application on Netlify. I think if it works, I'll probably fold it into some of the other apps that I've built that are behind kind of a Moonshot wall that I've built of a bunch of different interconnected apps. So if we go that route, I'm going to want to pull this app into it, right? And so having it in GitHub is going to be a much more convenient way for me to do that. So that's just the reason that I'm doing it this way. You can see it's still crunching. It's still got control of our screen. It's going to do what it wants to do. We'll see where it takes us. Now it's pushing files to that repository. So it's using GitHub's tool. It's basically connected. It's almost like an API. And it's going to deploy all of our code to GitHub. So all of it lives there. So all these files that are created currently on my desktop to build the app are going to get deployed to GitHub. And then GitHub is going to deploy all those files to Netlify. So that's the way the code kind of pushes around. And then as we do stuff in the future, the code changes we make locally on what Claude is doing right on my desktop will get synced to GitHub, and then GitHub is the way to push it out to wherever you want it to go from there. So there's still a few more steps, guys. We're getting close. I mean, I imagine probably another 15 minutes or so, we should have this application up and usable. So hang tight. This is soup to nuts. This is build the whole thing, right? This is, hey, I had an idea, I have a question, let's let AI run. And you'll see probably within an hour, the whole thing being pushed up. That's including GitHub. That's including a live server environment, a database environment, and Google login. We could have simplified this a lot if we didn't want any of those features. If we just wanted it to be a super fast, down and dirty app, we probably could have cut that time in half. But then we wouldn't have had logins. We wouldn't have had data stored on a database. We wouldn't have had it accessible on other people's computers. So these are just decisions we made. While it's doing that, I know it's going to ask me for a Slack channel. So let's just open up our Slack, create a new, let's do channels, let's do create a channel, supplies, let's just do a channel called supplies. That seems easy enough. Anyone in Moonshot can join it. We'll just add Amanda to start with. So just Amanda and I for now. That way it's at least there and working. All right, allow all this. So yes, you have my permission to do the thing you asked for. I just went ahead and short-circuited that because I just expect that we're going to need a channel, and I didn't have a channel created for this. And so that is done. The repo exists. Claude, GitHub connector, it's installed with access, and granting app as permission change you should make yourself. So it's telling me I need to really go do this. And so let's do this for it. Again, it guides you exactly down the path. Click configure next to the Claude app. Go to settings. I don't see the Claude app. Claude, GitHub, MCP. Add Moonshot supplies. All right, I'm not seeing this. So here's how we solve this. We take a picture. We come here. We take a shot. We say, I don't see what you're suggesting. And we paste in the image. And this is easiest, fastest way to communicate with a bot like this is to just take a screenshot of what I do see and say, I don't know what you want me to do here. And it'll likely say, oh, they changed their format. You have to do this instead. Great. And if not, then we'll figure it out. Might say you don't have the Claude app installed. Okay, well, then let's do that. But I have found this to be just marvelous in terms of trying to like maintain tech. Bugs, issues, or whatever isn't installed, which explains it. Click on the authorized apps and send me a screenshot. Okay. There you go. Boop. Didn't mean to hit the X. But this is a great way to, like Claude or GitHub server, tell me exactly where your access lives, and I'll point you at the right button. Great, thank you. I'm guessing it's going to want me to come here. And I don't know what it's going to want to do from there. We'll find out. That's an OAuth app grant. Evidently can't see private. That's why I got a 403. Reconnect the connector. Okay, check. That's what it recommends. So we're going to reconnect the connector. I don't know what that means. We're going to find out together. Okay, go ahead and do that now. Settings, connectors in the Claude app. So we're in the Claude app. We're going to go to settings, connectors, check. Now, what did it tell us to do? This one probably? Crap, I don't remember. Okay, go in the settings, disconnect GitHub, then reconnect it. And approve the access prompt. Okay, so back here. Settings, connectors, GitHub, disconnect. That's what it told me to do. Reconnect. Okay, did that work? Takes you back into the app. Then reconnect it and approve the access prompt. Tell me when it's done. Done. I don't know if that's solved anything. We'll find out. We will see. It's attempting. It looks like it's going to try to push 30,000 character files again. You'd think it would like push one file to see if the authentication worked. Because if so, that will make everything else easier. Okay, it is currently crunching on GitHub. If this doesn't work, we can pause this to keep the process going here. I can just come back to getting GitHub hooked up later. So that's part of the cool part about this is like it's trying to do all this, but I can tell it, hey, we don't have time to solve this problem. Let's come back to that. We'll make that phase 2 for phase 1. Let's just go ahead and connect it to the web app so we can get this live and out the door. Let's hope it works this time. We disconnected and reconnected. Sometimes you just have to turn off the computer and turn it back on again. Right, it hit its limit on characters. Oh, nope, false. It's still going. I thought it stalled for a second, and I thought that was about where we were. So we'll see if the GitHub MCP works again. If not, I'm going to tell Claude that maybe next time it should test a balloon before it send the canary down the coal mine before you send people down there. You know what I'm saying? Loaded tools. I don't know what that means. Found tools. Can click on results. Doesn't say anything. Claude, user, always allow, searching repositories, query user failed to search with query this, get this. Validation failed. I'm guessing it's going to kick out the same error. If that's the case, we'll hit a quick pause, guys, and I'll come back with phase 2. Should be easy to short circuit this and keep the ball moving. I know you guys are wanting to get to the end of this. Okay. Flip the repo to public. Let's just make it public quickly. We can probably turn it back on later or turn it back off later. But what this does is makes it so other people can access the code as well. Scroll to danger zone, change visibility, moonshot. Supplies, settings, danger zone. Where's that at? It's down here. Change to public. I want to make this public. I have read and understand what happens. Make it public. Okay, done. All right, now it's pushing it. So what this does, though, when you have a public repository like this, is it allows anybody to push code to it. And so once I get this up and working, I will lock it back down again because we can't have just anybody adding code to our project. This is good for open source communities when you have a group of coders all working together to solve a problem. That's the purpose of this. When it's all open source and people can add to a project. Clearly that's not what we're trying to do here. And so we're just going to get this code pushed. I am going to have to come back. My wife reminds me that I have to meet someone for a window appointment today at our house. We're trying to get new windows at our house. And so I'm going to need to leave here to go home and meet them, but I will let this crunch and I will come back and we will keep we'll keep lead on target here and get this thing across the finish line. So I think this is the hardest part. Just this little hiccup here has cost us a little bit of time, but we'll get through this and we will get the other parts put together and I'll show you guys the functioning version of this app. So I will be right back. Everybody's talking about AI, but very few are actually executing. If your team is still experimenting with Copilot, you're already behind. Axia Technology Partners turns Microsoft AI into real business outcomes and fast. Not prompts, not pilots. This is production-grade AI embedded into your workflows. As a Microsoft certified AI solutions provider, Axia TP delivers Microsoft E7, the full stack of security, identity, and AI, implemented, governed, and scaled. While others are testing ideas, Axia TP's clients are reducing costs, automating operations, and moving faster than their competitors. This isn't about trying AI, it's about operationalizing it, and now. If you're serious about results, not experiments, visit Axia Technology Partners and start executing. Visit www.axiatp.com. That's AXIATP.com to learn more. All right, friends, we are back. And it looks like the get push did not finalize. So what it's telling me is if you read this, it turns out it's not going to do what I want it to do. So, and this is the nature of building with AI. That's just part of it. And so what we're going to do here is we're going to grab this, which it tells me to do, and it tells me to paste it into terminal. So what does that mean? It means I come up here, I type in terminal in this case, terminal, and hit that. And it opens up this box. I'll shrink it down so we can see it. Pew! So this is basically like how you would type to your computer if you didn't have a graphic user interface, if you didn't have a way to click around. I'm going to paste in the whole thing. It's probably going to fail. We'll find out. Okay. Initialized. Delta compression. Writing. Total. Delta reused. So I'm going to send back this. Take a screenshot, paste it in, see what it tells me. So again, we hit a wall. It's telling me what to do. And if it gets stuck, I will ask it for additional details on what to do. And this is the nature of AI coding when you build stuff like this, is you literally just go back and forth and back and forth. And I know this can be intimidating if you're not technical. But like if I didn't know what terminal was here, I'd say, how do I use terminal? And it would walk me through it, right? Using the screenshot feature and just being humble when you talk to the bots, you can kind of beat your head through anything. I have a ton of friends that I talk to that are not technical, but are building tools just like this using Claude and Replit and other things like it. So good. We now did this. Now we're going to go connect to Netlify. So we're on to step 5. Netlify is the public outface of this. So we're going to give it a go. So it's connected to Netlify. I have Netlify already, I think, connected to this. So if you have not used that before, there's a step in the process here where you have to, like we did with Supabase, you'll have to create a Netlify account and you'll have to connect the dots and log in and do all that. I think I pay $5 a month for Netlify, and you saw Supabase was free, maybe. So, I mean, these are nominal fees, folks. I mean, obviously it's going to go up if you bang on it and put a ton of stuff on it, but for the simplicity of what we're trying to build here, it's pretty great. And so I've already got the Netlify connector. I've got a GitHub connector. So those are, if you look here in the Claude Co-work, I mean, it just like layers that stuff in down here. You can dig into those things if you want to. Looks like something's happening behind the scenes. So it's trying to log in as Netlify. Yes, let's continue. So this is it opening it in the background of Claude. Okay, logged in. You are not signed in. Please do that. Done. We can monitor both and see what we got going on here. It looks like they're starting to do something because the Moonshot Supplies project exists here in Netlify. My guess is it's going to link the repository down here to the GitHub repo we just pushed. We'll see. Finding the link repository button. Clicking it. It's telling you what it's doing. Yep, see, told you. It's going to click this button. It's going to pop up an input box. It's going to put in the input box, hopefully connect it to GitHub, which all the code lives, and then it should push everything upstream. It's kind of cool to watch this. I mean, as time goes on, this is just going to get faster and faster and faster. Right now, tools like Netlify, tools like Southwest Airlines, Disney World, all these different things are designed for humans. And so these bots are having to figure out how to navigate a web page and click buttons and fill in forms and do all that. I believe that all of this is going to have dual purpose in the not too distant future, where the bots will be able to transverse the web of the project without having to click all these buttons, and it'll go 100 times faster because they can spider down a list of links and click and do things. It's the dragging and dropping and getting stuff on a user interface that slows it all down because it has to take a screenshot, read the screenshot, do the thing, right? Imagine a scenario where it just doesn't have to do that and it just works. I think you're going to find that to be where we're headed. Link your project to a Git repository. It doesn't seem like it's finding my Git repository. One step for you again. Can only see isn't one of them. Configure the net. Okay, on the page in Chrome, click Configure the Netlify app on GitHub. So all I did was follow through what it told me to do. Basically, go to that and add Moonshot Supplies. Done. I know I've said this multiple times, but for those of you that are overwhelmed by this, that find this to be too technical, just ask. You saw me do it earlier when it told me to do a thing, and I was like, I don't see that. And I just took a screenshot of it and said, this is what I do see. And it steered me in a different direction, right? You're going to have that happen. And so you just have to be able to follow the directions it gives you. And if it's not clear, take screenshots and communicate back and forth with it, and then it'll clear up. Now it's logging in, confirming it does have access to this. Everything's working. Ra-da-da-da-da. Here we go. So again, the action steps here. We built the code in Claude on our desktop. It lives in folders on my desktop, which is controlled right here in the Moonshot Supplies folder, right? We can actually open it up and see it. Inside of projects, it creates Moonshot Supplies, and then it creates all of these. So that's the actual code that it wrote. But that code has to live on a server for people to access it. And so what it's doing is connecting to Netlify to deploy. And that'll put it up on a live URL. It'll give me a URL that we'll be able to access. So let's let it run for a bit and see what it tells me. And then it'll come back and say, here's the URL that you can actually access live on the internet. And that's how this becomes a functional, usable thing. Now, it doesn't set on my domain. It's not like www.mydomain.com or moonshotsupplies.com or whatever. But you have the ability to do that inside of Netlify. So once you build it, then you can actually point a domain you own at it. It's just going to make one up for us, which is fine. I mean, it's just a temporary made up thing. See how every step of the way it has to take a screenshot, and then it uses its own code to analyze that screenshot to decide where to move the mouse to click inside of it. Just not efficient at all. It is what these tools have created as a way to just work with everything. And it's awesome because it can do that. But imagine a scenario where tools like Netlify or GitHub, or like I said, Southwest Airlines or Disney World are designed to work with this, right? Where they're thinking about how do we make it as easy as possible for an agent to get through our website and to do what it wants to do. You're going to find just dramatic changes in the speed and efficiency of this stuff because all of this just doesn't have to exist, right? As things become more open and more designed for this purpose. I mean, I'm talking like 10x, 100x speed improvements. It's interesting that it's doing the Slack channel and notifications at the end. You'd think they'd code that into the app earlier in the process. But here, we'll click this link and see what happens, shall we? Failed on Google, sign in. There's the code it sent. Channel, Slack channel exists. Hashtag supplies. And which requires a tiny Slack app in your workspace. You can go ahead and drive. All right. So it looks like we have a final few buttons here we got to click through. So this OAuth thing, I'm guessing, is because we didn't copy the secret correctly. So it's not going to allow us to log in, which means the whole app doesn't do anything, right? Because if it's not working, it doesn't do what I want it to do. So we'll see how it chooses to do this. Sometimes Claude will actually spin up sub-agents and it will send one to do this project and one to do this project. Sometimes it doesn't. The Google client secret didn't save in Supabase. It sure didn't. Just left it empty. That's not helpful. So hopefully it can solve this. I don't know if it knows what the secret is. I might have to go get another one. But that's okay. Zooming. So we'll get this OAuth piece built. OAuth is a standard. It actually came out, I think, forever ago, 15, 20 years ago. And I think Twitter was leading the cause on that as a login protocol. I remember my first challenges with this version of authentication was at Twitter. I'm sure it's existed in a lot of different places, but that is certainly a thing. It's a standardized way to authenticate, basically what it is. And so Google uses it, but we have to have a client ID and a client secret that we store, and that's how the app communicates. So it looks like it knows the secret because it pasted it in, so that's exciting. Secret saved. This time we used a direct form input. Now on to the Slack app. Let's see if our application is working. All right, so we're back to the application. Let's try to log in, see what happens. Yep, that's all fine. Come back over here. Ooh, look at this app it built. So we've got request something. We can do something new, or we can do something from our list. We can search a catalog, so anything will go into it. we're out of this. We need to flag it for immediate. And then is it going to Noblesville or Plainfield? There will be a request queue. There will be an approval process. This is where stuff will come in. And then here's the catalog. So let's just look at some things we might get. So here's what I'm going to do as that's crunching in the background. Let's say we buy... trying to think of stuff we would buy on here in particular without going through my whole laundry list of things we might have. Paper plates. Let's just put that on there. Okay, so let's just say we got paper plates. Disposable paper plates. Let's put that. And the link here. And these are 100 count. Add the item. So it saves it there. It makes it clickable out. So if I want to request something, I can request paper plates. And I want one, and I need them in Noblesville. Add it to this week's list. So now we have a thing going here. Nothing's approved, and nothing's ordered. So let's just say we approve this. My guess is it moves it to the ordered list and says, great, this is what we're getting. That's kind of cool, seeing it work through the process. So what I would do here is I would take this back to my team, and I'll do that after this, when we're done recording, and I'll take it back to my team and we'll fill out the catalog, and then I will work on the process to go from requesting something to approving it to prepping the order. And that'll be a way in which we can like manage all of the things we need to do. What's cool about this is because we designed it and coded it, and Claude knows it. It built the whole thing. We can come back and make changes to it. So as I told you earlier, like no automation, no automatic ordering, but imagine a scenario where it's like, I got to get a Uline order ready, right? I know I have to go count boxes and bags and the things that we use for fulfillment. And you can do that as a whole standalone process now, and just you can build a whole like Uline prep feature that feeds right into this that goes all the way through it. So really cool, really neat steps here. It says I'm not logged into Slack on this browser, so let's do that. You'll need to sign into your Slack account. That seems reasonable. You have signed into your Slack account. We've sent an authentication code to your phone. Fill it in. Open Slack, I guess, because it wants me to do that. Okay, let's come back here. Logged in. Now, in theory, it should be able to come back and take over this and keep building it. Wiring the Slack notifications. This is fun. It's going and creating its own app, building all the bits and pieces. You can see some of the other apps I've done, which has been fun. Customer service and social media, and I have a little Moonbot. I have Jarvis. Everybody has a Jarvis if you've built things. So we will get this queued up, and it will let us know now when things are happening. So let's go back to this app. Something new. What do I need? Where is it? Where do we buy it? This is fun. So what I could probably do, as I'm just looking at this, is I could probably do like separate restock requests for like snacks and drinks too, right? This is just supplies, but it doesn't. It feels like we could literally either bake it into this or replicate this and create our own version of it. So why I like doing stuff this way, guys, I mean, we're, an hour and 10 minutes into this probably. Took a little longer than I thought it might. But, I mean, still less than 2 hours into this, we have a functioning version of an application. I can literally share this URL with my staff. It's not pointed where I want it to yet, but let's just pretend this is it. I could share this with my staff. They could log in, right, because I have it locked down to Google. They can log in, and they can add stuff to the list. So we could start using this now. What I would probably do before I hand it over is a couple things. One, I would build a help section. So I would have documentation built into the app on how to use it and what to do. If you just hand somebody a form with a bunch of fields, they're going to fill it out incorrectly. It's going to cause all kinds of heartburn. So what I would do is say, here's the how-to. Here's an onboarding guide to show you how to use this application and what you want to do with it. And it would add little tool tips all over the place and tell you what to do and where to do it and how to do it. And then I would probably send it to a few people and have kind of my testers, the people who are more maybe technologically adept, the people who are leaning into stuff, send it to them and have them put stuff in here. And then this would allow us to just get zooming through this process faster. Forms filled out. The create app. I have to confirm. I confirm. Because I had to create the terms and services. So we will do that. Tell me when it's created. Oops, forgot. Done. So you can have it listen. It's easier to just tell it when you've pushed the button. That way it doesn't have to sit and wait forever and ever and ever. I think this is going to be fun. I will spend some time, have somebody on my team go through and add a bunch of items that we have done before. I can just go through my past Amazon history. What I'll probably do is actually once I'm off camera here, I will probably have Claude scrape my order history for myself, my wife, and probably Larry on my team from Amazon and Instacart, and just pull all that stuff down as items and have it automatically create this catalog. So I don't have to sit here all day and hand type everything, but I can build out a catalog of hundreds of items probably pretty quickly. I think it's going to be great. This could be a nice little feature. I will report back on how it's working, but I do intend to roll this out and actually start using it, at least getting feedback from my team. So we'll start with documenting how it all works, build the onboarding wizard and the help features, and then I will roll it out, get feedback, confirm it's adding value, reducing time, and then tweak from there. I mean, I see this turning into the how do we restock soda and snacks task, right? And because we built it and it's not opinionated, it does what we tell it to do, we could add a feature. Let's say, for example, I want to go take a picture of our snack pantry or our fridge. And I just say, I need you to restock all the things we don't have. It can do that, right? AI can do that. It can literally take a photo, analyze the photo, decide what's in there and what's not in there, and then check it against your catalog and add all those things to your reorder list. Think about what that does from a time savings perspective. Allow on that page. Allow. All right. Then I'll grab the webhook URL and finish the wiring. So all it's doing now is creating its own app inside of my Slack group, my Slack workspace. And then it's using that same OAuth. We've learned about that and talked about that already. It's a way to authenticate between disparate applications. So I'm granting access to it because I'm logged into Slack, connecting those dots, and now it's doing it. Always forget. You have to type done. So it'll grab the webhook, finish the wiring, and then the cool part is the end-to-end verification where it actually tries to do some testing for us. This is something you can toggle on or off inside of app development. I love it because it lets me try things before I hand it to folks. I am ADHD. I like to build. I like to fire and forget. I don't like to test. So it's getting better and better every time it codes something, but it still has issues where something just doesn't work. So I build these end-to-end verifications and actual unit testings and user testings to have it try to break it or have it go through the whole process to make sure forms aren't broken or fields don't work or whatever. And then I hand it to someone so that when I give it to someone, they're not feeling like they're the first person to ever see it, even though really they are, because AI is going to have tested it first. Got the webhook, wiring it in, redeploying. So this is at changing the code and then redeploying the code. Guys, we're almost done. I mean, again, this is a little longer than I thought. I thought I could have this done in under an hour. I think we're at maybe an hour and 10. So Lord bless you for staying with me this whole time if you're still watching. But I think it's pretty cool. Okay, straight build artifact. So this is a way you have to deploy. So same thing as before. Terminal, opens up terminal, copy, paste, enter, done. done. We will, once it confirms this is done, we will try to add a new item and see if it does anything with, I don't know what it's pushing to supplies. We didn't tweak or confirm what we want pushed to the actual supplies thing. So submit a request, something new, name anything. Okay. You should be a manager. So open approvals, approve it, add to catalog, check order prep, All right. Okay. So it's asking me to do the thing. So let's do the thing, shall we? We're going to open this back up. We're going to do something new. We're going to do G2 pins. We're going to go to Amazon. We're going to get G2 pilot pins. The black ones, these guys. These best pins, guys, in case you didn't know this. Looks like I bought it a few times, so this is a perfect example of what we would want. So when you grab the URLs, you don't need all the strings on the end of it. You just stop here. That's good. So Control C, Control V. We buy it on Amazon. It comes with 12. It comes with 12. And add it to this week's list. So G2 pins are out. Oh, crap. Didn't click the select. We're out. That's okay. You should be a manager. So then go into approvals and approve it. Great. Check. And approve it with add to catalog checked. Oops, I didn't do that either. I'm good at reading. Good idea, Jason. Okay. So that may not have actually added it to our catalog. Check order prep here. Should appear under the location. Do step 1. Click the we're out flag. Whoops. Let's get coffee cups. That's another thing we could do. Again, guys, I will make this work a lot faster and better once we have the ability to just go pull it all. So this guy here, look at this big old fella. So this is like way too complicated. I think we should probably shrink these names down. So I need to build an edit feature to come back in. Oh, maybe I can. Edit. Paper plates. Save. Well, there we go. See? So coffee cups, 500 count. Good Lord. No notifications landed. Okay, let me see what the So I am watching my notifications channel in Slack and don't see anything. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go prep the next one. Request something. Something new. Coffee cups. Nope, that's not it. This is it. It gets 500 of them. That is a zillion. Oop. That's a weird function. I think we could probably turn off the up down. So I'll make a list of mental notes of things. Also, I don't know why I'm choosing the location now. Oh, this is because I'm not adding it to a catalog. I'm actually filling out. See your request came through as a manager. Approval stuck. The Slack didn't fire, likely because you submitted for the webhook deploy finished. Submit one more request now. Okay, let's do that then. Whoops. Coffee cups times 500. Resubmitted. I still don't see it in my Slack channel, so there may be a bug somewhere. These are always fun to try to figure out. Probably wrong scope or who knows what. Read channel messages. So These little numbers are going to cause us friction at some point. I'll probably change that. Decline. That one's not happening. Declined. Just my requests. So just show me the ones I did. So everybody can put them in. It tells you who did it, when they came in, whether we're getting it or not. Isn't it cool? I just think it's so cool that, like, we talked to an app. It built this. This is living on an actual web server somewhere. There are a zillion ways we could enhance this. We could add real-time lookups inside of Amazon's. We could do searches right inside of it. We could have AI layered on top where it's making recommendations. We could have it do price checking across multiple sources where it's giving recommendations there based on the best bang for the buck, best price. We could build a whole interface on top of this that once people request it, they're not choosing Amazon or Instacart or whatever. They're just saying, what we need this thing. I need coffee cups. And we could build a whole feature, a whole tool that sits on top of that and chooses the best ones to get here, the cheapest and the fastest, or whatever we want to do. But think about how much easier just this alone is versus someone just pasting it in Slack and not having anything organized. Just having a history of all of this in one place, even just Amazon orders, right? Like, I don't know when the last time I bought coffee cups was. Imagine getting to a place where it's predictive and it starts to look at it over time and say, hey, you need to order coffee cups because you're about out based on historical preference. Like, this starts to get pretty cool. And this is just something we built in a little over an hour. Imagine if we actually spent some dev cycles on this and really leaned in, right? We could build something totally remarkable. I'm going to give it a little bit longer here to try to figure out what's going on with this Slack integration. If we can get it to work. If not, we're going to hit pause and move on. I don't want you guys to sit and watch me get it to Slack, but it will happen. I've done it before. And so sometimes there's just some nuance connecting those dots. And it just, like I've shown you a couple times now in this video, you just got to beat your head against a wall. You just got to do it. And I don't know what happened here. Why isn't this working? Here's a screenshot. Here's what it should do, right? And you just push, and eventually it goes. It's running its own deploys and tests and checking stuff, which is wild. So remember, it took over my bot back here, took over my Chrome back here. It's loading stuff. It's testing stuff. It's trying to figure out what's happening. It's trying to see if it's doing what it's supposed to do. Now deploying live with both secrets in place. One more test request in the app, please. This should be the one that pings the supplies channel. All right, well, let's try it then, shall we? What else do we need? How about something new? Post-it notes. These little guys. Oh, those are the to-do ones. I don't need those. Post-it notes. Here we go. These little guys. I like these little guys. So we grab the URL. We call it Post-it notes. We push this in here. It comes with 24 paths. 24. Add it to this week's list. And here, friends, you will see new request, Post-it notes times 24 at Noblesville. Boom, done. All right, we have a functioning app. I'm going to leave it here. I appreciate y'all. Next week, I will... I don't know what I'm doing next week. I'm trying to intersperse some of these hands-on things with some more interviews. I have a lot more interviews coming up, I know, but I'm also traveling. I think I'm in town first of next week, but I'm going to Amsterdam. I'm taking my children. So I may do a remote from there. We may have an interview for next week, or I may be walking you through other related things. But for now, thank you all for listening. I know this was a little different. Hopefully this was valuable. Hopefully just seeing this stuff in real time and seeing me kind of fart through it, just through it, is valuable, because it's not always perfect. You don't have to have an engineering degree. You just have to beat your head against a wall, ask it questions, and keep going. But at the end of it, an hour and 20 minutes later, guys, we have a functioning supply reordering system, which is kind of cool, right? And if it works and we actually get buy-in from the company, like, this is very valuable and saves hours every week from someone's job. So again, grateful for y'all. Thanks for tuning in. As always, follow, subscribe, tell your friends, and we will go from there.